Hello, here we are for the next video. I'm going to do this one on hands and knees to start with. So to be honest, I have no idea how long we're going to be here because it's not my usual warm-up. I won't do it for any longer than an hour, and I plan to put some standing up balance work in at the end. So let's get going. So hands and knees, so that might mean you need to put cushioning underneath your knees, or you might want some cushioning for your hands. I'll get this going so I know how long we're here for. Right, there we are. Water out the way. I hope you're all well. Keeping on and all that stuff. Right. Hands about shoulder distance apart and underneath the shoulders to support your upper body. Knees about hip distance apart and underneath underneath the hips. Take two to support the hips. Relax the shoulders, and we'll start with a bit of cat and cow. So draw your belly button up towards the ceiling, tuck your tailbone under and let the spine go into a nice C shape. Relax the neck. And then straighten back out and start to arch the back. So pull the shoulders back and down and start to arch down the spine. I want you to feel your mid-back muscles doing some work. So let your chest just press forward a little bit. Remember when you're warming up, and then back to neutral again. So feel your spine start to round as you push down into your heels of your hands into your cat stretch. Tuck your tailbone under and feel your front abdominals tighten. Really good for pelvic floor, this one, as well as warming the back. Straighten out, pull the shoulders back and down, push down into your hands and pull your hands back a little bit so you can feel that really arch in your upper back. And it's going to do two more of these. Rounding the spine, pushing into the heels of your hands, tucking your tailbone, straighten out, and then arch in the back. Make sure you're not just sticking your bum in the air. Pull your shoulders back and down, press your chest through, press down and pull back with the heels of your hands. And straighten, last one. Round the spine, press into your hands. Straighten, pull back and arch your back. Cool. Alright, and then a few circles, so lift and reset your hands if you want to, and just moving around in a circle, sitting slightly back into your hips and then putting the weight on your hands. Loosen up around the hips and the lower back. Like the circle as big or as small as suits you. And reverse your circle. You can alternate if you want, but that makes me feel a bit dizzy. Couple more. Okay, we're going to go into threading the needle to get some twisting. I'm just going to do the reaching under to start with, just to let us warm up a bit. So you're going to take your right hand off the floor, turn it over, and you're going to reach through to the left side, sending the right shoulder down towards the floor. And come back. You haven't got to touch your head to the floor, just loosening up. So same with the left. So take the hand off and reach through. Send the left shoulder down. And then come back. And we're just going to do a few of these. So we're just twisting the body a little bit. Try and keep your hips high. Reaching through. Just if you're trying to reach something in an awkward cupboard or under the bed. Couple more like this, and then we're going to add a little bit more twist on. Trying to reach your fingers a little bit further each time. Okay, now if you find the next move too much, just stay with what you've just been doing. But if you can, you're going to turn your right hand over this time and reach through like you've just done. So send your right shoulder down. Then you come back to your start position and then you send your right arm up to the ceiling. For this one, pull that right shoulder back. And release. So it's a bit more of a difficult twist, so I'll do it on the left side. So you're going to bring your left hand through, send your left shoulder down, come out of that stretch, and then your left arm goes up. And as your left arm goes up, you're pulling your left shoulder back, pressing into your right hand on the floor, trying to get that little twist. Changing sides when you're ready. So you want to feel that rotation in the middle of your back. Stretching through. Being in a stretch as long as feels right for you. And remember, if you're very cold or your body's feeling quite tight, you don't want to stay there for too long at first. You just want to get the blood flowing. So as you warm up, then you stay in your stretches a little bit longer. Try not to sit back into your hips when you're doing it though. So keep your hips as close over the knees as you can, so you're getting that upper body rotation. Remember, pressing into the supporting arm, pulling that shoulder back will give you that nice reach. Good. A couple more, reach. Each time, hopefully feeling a little bit looser. It's quite a difficult stretch, this one. So bring it down to a level that feels right for you. Okay, and release. A couple more rolls around. Go into cat stretch if you want to after that one. And I'm going to stretch the wrists. This is always a popular stretch. Not at all. Right, if you've got any problems with your wrists, rather than the stretch we're going to do, which is quite intense, a slightly easier way is to just turn your hand round and point your fingers to the floor, put your other hand across the palm and push away. So it's a little bit easier way of stretching than what we're going to do, but it's an option if you find the next stretch a bit too much. Otherwise, still on your hands and knees, turn your hands away, so towards the little finger, until you've got your fingers pointing towards your knees or as close as is right for you. And then just very gently rock backwards and forwards to feel that stretch in the wrist. It doesn't have to be a big rock. You might find your fingers don't point all the way at your knees, they might stop sort of out to the side. And if you find the whole thing's just too uncomfortable, come up, have your arm out extended in front, fingers pointing down to the floor, and then just use the other hand to push against. But you can do this if you can. A nice stretch in those wrists and forearms, just rocking gently back and forwards. I'll be here for too long. Okay, and just to release that stretch, if you bring your hands closer to your knees and put them back of your hands down, so you've still got your fingers pointing towards your knees, but you've got palms up, and just put a little bit of weight on those wrists. It just turns your hands the other way, and again you can very gently rock. Not too far away. If your hands are too far forward for this one, you're going to be putting a lot of weight on those wrists and those hands. So nice and close to your knees, and just very gently rock backwards and forwards. You can't see what my hands are like, they're in that shape. It's weird to watch this one, I'm trying to watch it. So you've got your back of your hands down, palms up, and then just release. Good. Let's give them a quick circle round. Okay, I'm going to do some stretches for the hips now. So you're going to come up onto your knees, so off your hands, which will be quite a relief. Bring one foot in front, doesn't matter which one, but you need to square your hips, so you've got quite a wide gap. You don't want to be one foot in front, you don't want the knee, you don't want the foot in front of the other knee, so you need to square your hips up. Now I want you to tuck your tailbone under, and on this back leg, my left leg in my case, I want you to feel a little stretch in the front of the hips. Now, what quite often people do on this one is they go into a back arch. They just stick the butt out, arch the back, and there's no stretch in the hips. It's all the lower back taking the load. What I need you to do, you might need to pad this supporting knee if you haven't got much of a mat like me, but I want you to tuck your tailbone under and squeeze your bum tight. And I want you to keep your body lifted up so you're not sinking down on yourself. Straighten your spine. And I want you to squeeze your bum and count to 5. 3, 2, 1, and relax. So you're going to do that another 4 times. So you squeeze your bum, make sure your tailbone is pointing straight down, and you're looking for a little stretch just at the top of the thigh. Squeeze that butt tight. No need to lean forward, no need to arch the back. Keep the shoulders lined up with the hips, so no leaning on this front leg. You're not leaning on the bar, having a point. Up nice and straight. Counting to 5 and release. Squeeze. Really good for stretching out the front of the hip here, if that's a bit tight for you. We'll do a couple more. So if you kind of, when you stand up, if you've been sitting down and you stand up and you look like you're still in a chair shape, it's a good stretch for you. Okay, then change and do exactly the same on the other leg. So bring that leg down, it's a relief to come off that knee. Bring it in front, square your hips. So widen your stance if you need to. Tailbone points straight down and you squeeze the bum. Counting to 5 and release. And as long as you've got a little stretch in the front of that back leg, sort of very top of the hip of the thigh, you're doing it right. Keep your body upright, keep your shoulders over your hips, squeeze, count to 5 and release. Couple more. I'm going to make this a deeper stretch for the hips in a minute. If you're having any trouble with your hips or you just don't like the next stretch, you can repeat this again. Really stretch out the front of that hip. It's really good for your lower back because if your hips are tight, it causes you to tilt your pelvis forward, put strain on the lower back. And it means your bum looks bigger than it actually is, which, you know, depends whether you're into your Kardashians or not. Okay, so I'll show you the next stretch. You can join me or repeat what you've just done. But you're going to come back to that position again. So for me, right leg forward. This time I'm going to put my fingers down on the floor as if I'm going to start a race. Do you remember that when you started your race? Right, put some weight in your front leg. Tuck your toes on your back foot so you can straighten that leg and come off your knee. And just getting a little stretch in the front of that hip. Try and use your back muscles to support your back, so you're not putting all your weight on your fingers, and then back down on your knee again. And again, count to 5 if you can. So toes are tucked, push down on your front leg, and as you start to straighten that leg, that back leg, push your heel away. And you're just looking for a little deeper stretch in your hips. Count to 5, it doesn't have to be exact, just long enough to start to feel that stretch, but if it starts to become painful, back down on the knee. You can rest on your knuckles if you don't want to rest on your fingers. Use your back muscles to support you. Remember, use this core. It's just stretching out the front of the hips. Do a couple more. If you don't like it, go back to the previous stretch. Taking you right back to school sports day, this isn't it? Stretching out. Push the heel away on that straight leg. Press down into your foot on the bent leg. Get your bum muscles working. Last one. Okay, and then change legs. So, in my case, left foot forward. Square your hips again. Fingers or knuckles, whichever you prefer. On the back leg, tuck your toes under. Push down on your front foot and your hands and allow you to just lift the knee, and as the knee lifts, push through your heel and get that leg straight. Use your back muscles to support your back. Hold it for a few seconds and down. So we're just loosening up the hips here, getting the glute muscles working, using your back muscles to support your back so you're not putting too much weight on your fingers. Push down into your supporting foot and push through your heel on your straightening and bending leg. Just something a bit different for you to try. Feel free to tell me what you think. Polite, please. I blush easily. One more. Excellent. Okay. If you've had enough of being on your knees now and you want to lie down, you can for the next stretch. You can do it lying on your front. We're just going to get the hip working a little bit more. Lie down on your front if you want to. All I like to do, I'll do it from the hands and knees. You're going to straighten the one leg, push down on both hands so you support it, and check this bent leg that you haven't moved your hip outside of your knee. It's got to be lined up. If I do it this side, show you what I mean. The knee and hip have got to be lined up, not out here. Okay, so on the straight leg, you're going to squeeze your belly, make sure your tailbone points out behind you, not up to the ceiling, and lift this straight leg off the floor. Just enough to feel your bum muscles working. Now, you've got a choice. You can lift it, hold it for a few seconds and put it back down. And I want you to really use your bum muscles to lift the leg, so no arch in the back. You can stay with that, or a little bit harder, lift the leg up and do a few circles on it, keeping your torso as still as you can. So really using the bum muscles to move that leg around in a circle. Rest of your body stays as still as possible. Push down into your hands, straighten your spine and draw your abdominals in. If it's too much being on your hands and knees, then lie down. It's fine, you do it just as easy on your lying down. You're not going to get as much movement, but you are going to be supported while you do it. Again, about 5 circles, but really think about using your bum muscles to lift that leg up and move it around. Keep checking this supporting leg, that the hip hasn't gone outside of the knee. So you're going to need some more support from this hand, because you've already got down on that side of your body. And change legs. You can change legs sooner than me if your supporting knee starts to hurt. But when you're ready, come back to neutral, straighten the other leg, stretch the spine. Now remember, on this straight leg, you've got to put more weight on that arm, otherwise your weight's all going to tip over to your other side. So when you're ready, squeeze your bum and lift the leg. Enough to feel your bum muscles start to work, and you've got 2 choices. You can lift and lower, keeping this pelvis as tight as you can, or you can lift and circle. But I only want you to feel the leg moving around in the hip, not the whole body going. Push down on that supporting hand. Keep your hips as square to the floor as you can. Really getting these bum muscles working. Keep checking the supporting leg, that you're not pushing out over your hip. It means you need more support on that supporting hand, and you need to square your hips up. Really get these big, you'll feel them warming up. You're welcome. When you've had enough, go back to your circling and just stretch out. That's a really good one to get your bum muscles working. Any runners watching, it's one for you. Okay, where have we got to? Okay, I'm going to do some forward and back now. So we're going to start with some 3/4 plank. Let's grab a quick drink. And start to put some more weight on the arms and to get this nice stretch in these hips. So bring your hands slightly forward of your shoulders. Relax your shoulders down. Now you're going to come to the 3/4 plank. So our weight starts to come forward. We end up with the shoulders directly over the hands. Abdominals pulled in, push the floor over your hands, don't let your back arch and your hips lower. 3/4 plank. Squeeze your bum muscles, pull your shoulders away from your ears. Back to your hands and knees and move your hips back. Lower your chest towards the floor, relax your shoulders. Nice stretch for the upper back, this one. So come up and forward. Now you've got to make sure you don't just sag down onto your thighs. Push the floor away. We want to stretch the front of those hips, but we want to do it from plank. Holding it for a few seconds. Check the shoulders aren't up round the ears. Push through the heels of the hands. Back to your hands and knees and start to move your hips back. If it's too much of a stretch, you can bring your hands with you, or try and keep your hands where they are. So as you sit your hips back, lowering your chest towards the floor, pulling your shoulders from around your ears, you're going to get a nice upper back stretch. Stay there for a few seconds and then come up and forward. Don't drop the hips. I'm going to add on a few press-ups. If you don't want to do the press-ups, you don't have to. Sit back again. Make sure your hands are about shoulder distance apart. So when you come forward to your 3/4 plank this time, you're going to bend your elbows, push down your hands and squeeze your elbows against your ribs. Not too low. No arch in your back. Push through your hands and push yourself back up to 3/4 plank and sit back. Now, really important on this press up, that you don't just lower your hips down. That's a back arch. That's not going to build a strength in your arms. So you come forward, squeeze your elbows in, bend your elbows. Weight should be in the heels of your hands now. Belly's tight. Push up to straight. Sit back. We're going to do 3 more, and then I'm going to make it a bit more difficult if you want to. So come forward. Use your back muscles to hold you up here. As you bend the elbows, nice long straight spine. Push back up, really use your arms. Sit back. Stay sitting back for a little bit, stretch out the chest muscles, get your breath back. 2 more, come forward, 3/4 plank, bend, squeeze those elbows against your ribs. Straighten, sit back. Leave the press up out if you feel that you're just bending your back to do it. You need to get the arms a little bit stronger. 1 more, bend, push up. Sit back. Now I'm going to do all that from full plank into pike if you want to. If what you've just done is hard enough, have a rest and repeat, and you're going to get stronger. But if you know you can come to full plank, you can. So from our nice child's pose, come forward to your 3/4 plank, hands about shoulder distance apart, tuck your toes, straighten your right leg, push through that heel until the leg is nice and tight, then straighten your left leg. We're in full plank. You're going to push your hips up to the ceiling, push away with those hips, pull your chest through as if you're trying to touch your knees with your chest, straighten back out to plank. Don't let the hips drop, push the floor away with your arms, push your hips up to the ceiling so you make a V shape, you kind of concertina in the middle. Don't worry if your heels are away from the floor, mine are. I just want you to push your hips up and bring your chest in. Really feel your back muscles working. And straighten out. Don't lower your hips, push through your hands. On a plank, not a bow. 1 more, push your hips up. V in the middle. Press your chest through a little bit. And straighten out. Now, see if you can add the press up on. So from your plank now, you're going to bend your elbows, squeeze your elbows against your ribs, push through your hands until your arms are straight, push your hips up. If you don't want to bend your elbows, don't. Straighten, you don't have to bend them a long way. I'm not expecting your chest to touch the floor. I just want to feel that you've bent at the arms, the weight is in your hands, you can feel your heels of your hands pushing against the floor. Straighten, push your hips up to the ceiling. 1 more if you can. Straighten out, push through your heels. Get your plank sorted, then bend your elbows, squeeze them against your ribs, push up, push your hips up. Good. Straighten out and put your knees to the floor. Nice child's pose to get your breath back. Well done. That was tough, that, so well done. We're going to do some sideline work now to give your wrists and your knees a rest. Grab a quick drink if you want one. Okay, so chest open to start with, so you know the drill. You need probably something underneath your head. Make sure your shoulders are comfy. Hips are stacked, so you're not slouched into the floor. You can have your knees together, or I prefer top leg in front of bottom leg. Pull your waist up underneath you and straighten your back. Top arm out in front. Roll the shoulder back and down, don't overreach. We're good to go. You're going to lift that top hand up. Bring the shoulder blade in towards the spine. Stretch your spine a little bit and then a twist. Opening out. Try and keep your hips still as possible. Back to the ceiling. Lower your arm to the floor. So feel your shoulders stacked as your hand lowers to the floor. And again, you're going to do 5 of these. So you're going to reach up. Stretch the spine, pull the waist in underneath you to allow you to twist safely. Let your head turn if that's comfortable for you. Gently press into the legs and stretch the spine. Untwist and push your hand down into the floor. 3 more. Reach. Really feel that work in the back of your shoulders and feel you stretch lengthen the spine before you twist. Just opening up. You haven't got to touch the floor. That nice rotation in the upper back. Untwist. And lower. Couple more. Reach. Keep drawing the waist up underneath you. That will support your hip. Twist. Really think about using those upper back muscles. Sinking your legs into the floor, making them heavy. Reach out with your fingers. And untwist. One more. Reach up. Pull the shoulder back and down. Open up. Relax your neck. And twist. Smashing. Right. This leg, we're going to do some leg circles. If you're having trouble with your hip at the moment and circling, it's quite a difficult move. So if you find it too much, lift and lower. So you can lift with your leg bent, or you can lift with your leg straight, up and down, rather than circling. If you find in the circle, some people find it clicks the leg, or it just doesn't feel steady. So up and down, either with the knees bent or with that top leg straight is fine. Okay. The rest of you, you're going to keep your bottom leg bent and you're going to straighten your top leg out until your heel feels about level with your tailbone. Shoulders back and down and they're level as well. Pull the waist in and then you're going to lift this top leg to about hip height, but move the hip away from the rib cage. Don't scunch into yourself there. Nice long waist. Then you're going to draw me some circles with this top leg. Relax your neck and I want you to keep your torso and your hip as still as possible. So the movement is actually coming from the leg moving around in the hip rather than the pelvis and moving around the spine. Pull that waist in tight. Really, again, use your bum muscles and your outer thigh muscles to pull this leg around. About 5 in each direction, but it's quality, not quantity. And try and get a circle. Sometimes you'll find you'll have some muscles that are stronger than others and they'll pull you out of shape. So you're trying to get a circle. Slow down a bit. If you can't work out what shape your leg's trying to make, you're going too quick. So reverse your circle when you're ready. Keep drawing your waist in and using these bum muscles. So you might find a bit at a time the circle can get a little bit bigger, but not by hula hooping. Again, we're using the strength in the leg muscles to support all around this hip. As I said, if it's too much, just up and down or forward and back if you want. We're going to do scissors in a minute. Anyway, when you've done about 5 in each direction, give it a rub. It's going to need it. While that has a quick rest, we'll do some more upper body work. So bring your legs into your chair position. Reset your shoulder if it needs it. We're going to go do our circle. So we're going to start with the arm bent. So just bend your arm and just let your hand, if it reaches, just sit lightly on your shoulder. If it doesn't, just sort of leave it where it is. But you're going to circle your elbow around and I want you to draw me, we're all about circles today, you're going to draw me a circle on the ceiling. Keeping your legs as still as you can. And again, you're thinking about using your upper back muscles to move that torso around a little bit. Stretching you out. If this feels okay and you know you've got no shoulder problems, you can straighten your arm out. If that feels like it's clicking and it's suddenly not very pleasant, go back to the bent arm option. Moving that right. Drawing your shoulder down your back, stretching the shoulder out. You can stay longer in these stretches than I am if you want to. It's pretty boring just watching me lying still. Pretty boring watching me move, to be fair, but you know what I mean. So if you want to stay in the stretches a little bit longer and do fewer reps, that's fine. Couple more. It's a nice movement for your back. Okay, one more. There we go. Right, then we're going to get into some scissors. So get your legs straight. Now I want you to try and line your back up as if you're lying against a wall. So the back of your head, shoulders, bum, heels, all level as best you can. If you really struggle to balance, just bend the bottom leg and leave the bottom leg still. It'll give you a bit more surface. Otherwise, straighten out and try and line your feet up as well. Pull your waist in so your hips are square and lift your top leg to about hip height. But again, don't scrunch into the floor to do it. Keep a nice separation between your hip and your ribs. And you're just going to move this top leg forward and back without moving the pelvis. So again, the movement is coming from inside the hip. Swinging it backwards and forwards. Trying to use your bum muscles to pull the leg back and your thigh muscles to pull the leg forward. Now, it's going to try and drop. It wants to be down here because it's easier to be down here. It's got to stay hip height. It does not want to touch the bottom leg. Stay with this, or tense the inner thigh on the bottom leg and lift it just slightly off the floor. Not enough to move your hips, but enough to stop it dragging on your mat. And then as the one leg kicks forward, the other leg kicks back. Now, quite often I get grumbles on this one, and I can feel it on the bottom hip pushing down on the floor. Try stretching your back a little bit and pulling your waist muscles in as if your belt's tightened around your middle. What tends to happen is we put all our weight on that one pivot there, on that hip, and then it's going to hurt when we try and move. So if you stretch your back out and pull your waist in, it rejigs your weight about a bit. If you just can't think, Sharon, you're talking nonsense, it's hurting my hip, just bend the bottom leg, leave that one still and just move this top leg. But if you can, try and move both legs. Keep that gap between your legs, and this top leg is not going to drop down, it's going to stay hip height, and we're trying to get that scissor action. Pulling the waist in, using your upper back muscles to support that upper body. Relaxing the neck a little bit if you're feeling tension in your neck and your shoulders. Try and get a good stretch in those hips. We quite often walk with quite small steps, so our hips never get a full stretch. And when they're nice and warm, they appreciate it. Really trying to stretch these hips out. Pull the abdominals in, pull the waist in. And when you've had enough, you can bend your legs. Phewie, a little bit of side plank before we move on. I can hear you groaning at me. For your side plank, it's up to you whether you're on your elbow or your hand. It's entirely up to personal preference, whichever one suits you better. But remember, you must support the shoulder, so whether it's your elbow or the heel of your hand, it must be underneath the shoulder. Have your top leg straight for a bit of balance, and try and square your shoulders and as best you can your hips to the front. Push down through your hand and through both legs, not just the bottom leg because you'll get cramp. And pull yourself up off the floor, reaching up, and if you want to, reach over with this top on. Try and square yourself up to the front of the room. Pull your waist in, and then slowly lower yourself down. Try not to touch the floor if you can. So push yourself up, arm up to the ceiling, overhead if that doesn't hurt your shoulder, but if you feel any pinch in your shoulder, just up to the ceiling instead. Pull your waist up, push into the heel of your hand on the floor, and lower. If you're getting cramp in this bottom leg, it's because it's trying to do all the work. So try and relax your foot, maybe move your leg on that bottom leg a little bit so it's not taking too much load. Heel of your hand on your supporting arm, side of your foot on your straight leg, all help. Couple more, pull yourself up. Really good for your triceps on your supporting arm, back of your arm, really good for your waist. Use your upper back muscles, no sagging. One more, pull yourself up. Reach up or over with that top arm. Lovely. Okay, and then squeeze around to the side. Grab a drink on the way if you want one. So down we go again. We've got chest open to do first. So legs stacked or top leg in front, shoulders relaxed, get comfy, arm out in front. Now roll the shoulder back and down first. Remember, some people tend to overreach. So you're going to reach your arm up to the ceiling, feel your shoulders stacked, waist pulled in and start to twist. Shoulder moves, hip doesn't. back to the ceiling, stack the shoulders and push down, make a cleavage. So we're trying to get that movement. Do it again. We're going to try to get that rotation where we can move the upper body without the lower body having to come with it. Untwist. And you'll start to feel yourself loosen up. If this side's a bit tight, the first few, you won't necessarily move to your full range. It doesn't matter. Sending the shoulder down, reaching out with the fingers. Nice heavy legs, so they just ground you, allow you to twist. Untwist, stack the shoulders and push your hand to the floor. Keep drawing the waist in. Any pinching in that lower back, change the shape of your legs. You might need to bring your legs a bit higher or a bit further out from you just to take that pinch, whatever you're pressing on that lower spine. We don't want to do that. Keep lengthening the spine. Untwist. And down. Good. And again, reach up. Lengthen and pull the waist in and twist. And again, you might find now that you want to stay in that twist a little bit longer. As long as you don't feel anything pinching, you might just feel that your body's responding to the stretching. So do fewer reps than I'm doing and just take your time on them if you want to. I haven't gone away, I've just gone quiet. One more. Reach up and twist. And twist and lower. And then we're going to get into this hip. So we're going to start off with our circles. Remember, you are suffering with your hip. Your alternative is to bring your legs into that 90-degree bend at the knee and lift and lower from there. Or straighten the top leg out and lift and lower it if you find circle just doesn't suit you. For the rest of you, bend your bottom leg, straighten your top leg, line your heel up with your tailbone with the back of your head, lift the leg to about hip height, but make sure you're not bringing the hip towards the ribs, so nice gap between the top hip and that top rib and that bottom rib. And then you're going to draw me some circles. And you're drawing me some circles, trying to keep your pelvis as still as possible, squeezing your bum, moving the leg round. If you can sort of look down your nose and watch your foot, so you can still keep your back straight, and see if it is a circle you're drawing. If it's more of an egg, then try and correct it as best you can, so make sure all the muscles around that hip are working evenly. Sometimes, we've got some muscles that are more powerful because we use them more, and they'll dominate and they'll pull you into a different shape. So as best you can into a circle. That doesn't mean you round your back to have a good old gulp. It's you just kind of glancing down at your toes really. Then reverse your circle. What I'm looking for you to feel is right underneath your bum and to the side of your bum, really working. Those are your powerful glute muscles that are really responsible for moving the leg and supporting the lower back. But when you work them, because it's hard, you've got to watch you don't bunch your shoulders up round your ears. Quite often I'll come around the class and pull shoulders down to expose your neck because you've been so caught up trying to use these glutes. Circling round. When you've had enough, bend the leg and give that bum muscle a bit of a rub. So while that rests, ready to work again in a minute, we'll do our arm circling. So bring your legs in sort of 90-degree position, relax your shoulders and try and straighten your back so you're not looking down. We'll start with a bent arm first, so with your hand just resting lightly on your shoulder if it reaches, start to draw a circle. So you're drawing a circle with your elbow on the ceiling, rolling back and forwards. And again, it's about that upper back rotation there. So opening and closing that gap between your shoulder blades. Rolling round. And you can stay with the bent arm on. It's lighter and it puts less pressure on the rotator cuff. So stay with this if you want, or go into the straight arm if that feels comfortable for you. But if you feel any pinching or any tingling in your fingers, go back to a bent arm. I want you to really focus on that gap between your shoulder blades. Just feel it widen as you reach forward and narrow as you reach back. That's mobility in that upper back. Again, you might find that you want to stay in that stretch a little bit longer. So you might miss a rep or two out. Opening up. A little bit of pressure in the legs, so they're in that 90-degree position. So we can put a little bit more weight on them so we don't just roll backwards. Opening out, good. One more. And then we've got our scissors to do. So, straighten the top leg. Lift it to hip height and pull the waist in. And then you're going to move this top leg forward and back. You've got your bent leg bent to start with. Bottom leg bent to start with. And I want you to feel that you are moving from this hip joint. So your tailbone stays pretty much still. Your abdominals stay zipped. Your spine is long. And you're just moving this leg forward and back. And using your bum muscles to pull it back. And your quads, your front thigh muscles to pull it forward. And you can stay with this if you want to. Check this foot doesn't start to lower down. It stays about hip height. Or if you can, straighten the bottom leg. Stretch your spine out. Redistribute your weight so it's not pushing into this bottom hip. Hip distance gap, and you scissor both legs. So really think about stretching through the top of your head, through the crown of your head, and through the soles of your feet. And trying to separate these legs. If you suddenly feel your feet or your ankles catching each other, your top leg has dropped. Excuse me, doctor, my top leg's dropped. Keep that gap between your feet, and you're trying to use your hips to give them a stretch. If it's too much, bend the bottom leg again. Just move the top leg. Slow down a little bit if you can. Really stretch these hips. This bottom leg, remember, a little cheat that sometimes happens is we just bend the bottom knee. Keep the leg straight. If it's painful on the hip itself because of the pressure, then bend it and don't try and move it. Couple more. Yeah, that'll do. And bend it. Good. With a side plank, at least it gets us off this hip. So come up onto your elbow or your hand. Top leg straight, and position your bottom leg so it's not going to do all the work, so it doesn't feel like it's going to cramp on you. Shoulders and hips facing forward. Press into the heels of your hand, heel of your supporting hand. Lift yourself up, bring your arm up to the ceiling, your top arm. Reach over towards your ear if it doesn't feel like you're pinching. Push into the heel of your hand and pull that hip up from the floor. And back down. Reach up. Pull your hip up, reach over with your arm. Square your hips and your chest towards the front. And lower. And I really want to be using the underside of your waist. Lift yourself up. Reach with your fingers, pull your waist in. Down, good. And again, come up. Couple more if you can. Remember, if you're getting any pinching in the shoulder, reach up to the ceiling, or lower than that if you don't want any pinching, and you come over your head if it feels comfortable to do it. Good. Couple more, I've lost count. Come on, two more. Reach up. Push into the heel of this supporting arm. One more, reach up. And well done. And do some white line on your back now. Grab a quick drink. Okay, we're going to do our single leg kick. So lying about, I'm going to start on level 1 and then I'll move up to level 2 with those of you who want to. So lying on your back, cushion, block, rolled up towel, anything you want under your head. Make your neck feel comfortable. Remember, we want a comfortable arch in the neck. Shoulders relaxed away from your ears. hips level on the floor and knees bent, so your feet are flat on the floor. Square yourself up. Lengthen your spine and feel your belly just tighten a smidge, just as if you're anticipating being tickled. Right, with your right leg, lift your foot off the floor and bring your leg up to that 90 degrees, so your knee is over the crease in your hip. Bend your knee enough so your heel is about level with the back of your knee. That's the right leg off the floor. Lift your left hand off the floor so your fingers are pointing up to the ceiling, palm facing in. Alright, lengthen the spine again, and when you're ready, push the right leg out until it's straight and about level with the left leg. Pull the left arm back to the side of your head. Draw your shoulder away from your ear. Now you're going to hold this for about 5 seconds, and I want you to use your thigh muscles to hold the leg up and keep your shoulder pulled down. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in and down. That's Benny, who suddenly is sneezing. Same on the other side, so lift the leg, lift the opposite arm, shoulders relaxed. Now, as you push the leg out straight, don't let it hang there. Tense the thigh muscles, almost like you're trying to pull your knee towards your hip. Pull this right arm back. Press down a little bit through your supporting foot if you want to, just to give you a bit more support. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in and down. I'm going to do one more at this level, and then I'm going to move up to level 2 for those who want to. So right leg 90 degrees, left arm. Lengthen the spine. We want as little pressure into this floor as possible. We extend the limbs, tense the thigh muscles, pull the shoulder back and down. Abdominals pulled in just enough to support you, so if I came along and tickled you, you wouldn't feel it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in and down. Last time, lift the arm, lift the leg, extend, tense the thigh muscles. Pull your toe towards your knee if you want to. That will help you get these thigh muscles working. Pull your shoulder away. On your supporting leg, push down a little bit of weight. You'll feel your bum muscles work. That will help. 3, 2, 1. Bring the arm and leg back in and down. Repeat that again if level 1 is right for you, or come to level 2. For level 2, right leg up, comes up to knee fold. Bring the knee in a little bit closer if your back feels a bit tight today. Same with the left leg. Bring that one up. So both feet off the floor, both hands off the floor. Relax the shoulders. Still only one arm and leg, so you're going to push the right leg out until it's straight. Tense the thigh, pull your toes towards your knee. Pull your left arm back. 5, 4, 3. Tense those abdominals. 2, 1. Back in. Square up, fidget round if you're not quite comfortable. Left side, extend the leg, tense the thigh, pull the arm back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. Once more for each side. Extend the leg and the opposite arm. Tense the abdominal muscles, pull the shoulders down from the ears. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. Last one before I go and loose Benny out. Opposite arm and leg. Now really use the abdominal muscles to hold the weight of the leg. Tense the thigh and pull the shoulders down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in and down. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with him. Do you want to go out? He's changed his mind now. Right. We were just demonstrating how to do a proper down dog, because clearly none of you were doing it properly. Right, what's next? Hip lifts. So for hip lifts, we're going to get the bum muscles stronger, so relax the shoulders. If you have got anything underneath your head, take it away. So your head's flat to the floor. Make sure your feet are flat to the floor, and remember, if you're prone to cramp, let me just let you know, hang on. Come here. Getting dangerously close to his tea time, you see, that's what's wrong. Right, so if you're prone to cramp, Make sure your feet aren't too far away from you, because when you push down on your heels, you get cramp. What you can do, I saw somebody doing this the other day, and I thought that might help. If you do hip lifts and you know it gets into your lower back, I know some of you almost get like sciatica feeling, try having your feet and your knees a bit wider. So when you're going up, you're using your outside bum muscles a bit more. So give that a go if you never quite get hip lifts properly. Otherwise, the standard is knees and feet hip distance apart. Relax the shoulders, squeeze the bum and lift your hips and push down through the shoulders and the feet to lift the hips up, and really use your bum muscles. And down. No tilt in the pelvis now. Sometimes people grab the front abdominal muscles and tilt back to come up. Again, if that's you, try having your feet wider. You'll find it more difficult to tilt back then. Push up. Pull those shoulders down. Almost like your fingers are trying to touch your heels. And lower. Use your bum muscles to lift you. We're going to do 5 standard ones, and then we're going to try some one-leg ones. That's 3. Push your hips up. Each one try and get a little bit more lift by pushing down through the shoulders and the feet. Good. One more, lift. So if you do struggle with hip lifts and you've got sciatica, then you're probably going to need both feet on the floor rather than any tilt in the pelvis. But the rest of you, I want you to try one leg once. So I want you to keep your left foot on the floor and straighten your right leg. And if you bring it about level with your left knee, so your knees are about level, so it's cut for 45 angle to start with, and then you're going to try and lift yourself up. So your left leg's got to do the lift all on its own. You're going to keep your pelvis square and push up. You will feel the back of your thigh working a lot harder. If it's too much, come back down and just cross that right ankle just over the top of the knee, and that will give you a little bit of leverage to help. But if you can, keep the legs straight and push up. So all the work now is coming from the left leg. Left. So you're driving down through your foot and through your shoulders and pushing up with your bum muscle. Give me 3 more. Each one just striving for a little bit more lift. 2. 1. And then change sides. Whoa. So bend the right leg, straighten the left leg, about level with the other leg, so about 45-ish angle. Relax the shoulders. So you're going to push down through your shoulders and your foot at the same time. If you just push with your foot, you're going to get cramp. And you go up and down. Neutral pelvis. Cross the ankle over the knee if you really struggle. But really think about using this leg. It's almost like hopping. It's just on one leg. Push up. Good. Push. Each one, as you get used to it, you're trying to just get a little bit more action out of these hamstrings and glutes on this supporting leg. Give me 3 more. 3. 2. 1. Lift. Good. And then bring your knees into your chest. That's better. How are we doing? Right. Then finish with a bit of standing up work. So what I want to do just to loosen the hips after that one. You just rock them gently. Backwards and forwards. Round in a circle if that suits you. You can do the legs moving together, or you can do the legs independent of each other. Whatever feels right for you, as long as it feels comfortable for you. Alright, then we're going to bring ourselves up to standing. So, if you put your hands at the back of your knees, bring your knees in close, push your legs away from you and allow them to bring your body up. Whee! And you're upright. Wait for the room to stop spinning. Then we're going to stand up. I hope you got your exercise in then. Round Benny. I don't know. This is tea time. Okay, come up to standing. So come back onto your hands and knees. Bring your hands in front of your knees. push your knees off the floor, bring yourself onto your feet. Now take your time coming upright so you don't go dizzy. Okay. Once you're up, adjust your trousers. It might just be me. And we're just going to start off, so we're going to do a little bit of balance work now. If you're on a carpet, it's going to be harder. So don't worry that you've suddenly lost all your balance, it's just that you're on a soft floor. You can always practice this on a harder floor if you want to. And I just want you to just gently rock forward and back on your feet. Try and keep your eye line at your natural eye line. Relax your shoulders down and let your arms just hang by your sides. Spreading your toes out. And don't worry how far you rock, as long as you feel that you're using your lower leg muscles, because they're key to balance. So I want you to feel your calf muscles contract as you come up and your shin muscles contract as you go back. Good. Try not to sit into a squat, keeping your back nice and straight, just using these lower leg muscles. As you get a little bit more confident and used to the move, see if you can stay up on the balls of your feet for a little bit longer and pull your heels up towards the back of your knee. And down. Roll up. Pull your heels up as if they're trying to touch the back of your knee. And down. Good. Oops. So we're going to do some standing balance. If you know your balance isn't very good, then I'd suggest having a wall close enough to touch, or a bit of furniture that you can just use just to reset you if you need to. So I want to start with your feet as close together as feels comfortable for your balance and for your knees. Bringing your feet together. If you need a little gap, then that's fine, but as close as feels right for you. So basically your base is narrower than your top. Relax your shoulders, let your arms hang by your sides, not round the back or round the front, just by your sides. And again, find your natural eye line. If you feel okay, close your eyes. Spread your toes out and reach the crown of your head for the ceiling. Really lengthen your back. Notice if your toes are trying to claw the floor, and spread them out a little bit. And say if you're on a soft floor, you're going to feel a bit wobbly. You're going to feel your ankles going up a little bit more than if you're on a harder floor. And then open your eyes and separate your feet. Okay. If you find the rest of the balance work really challenging, just keep repeating that for now, because that's going to get you stronger. But the next one, if you can, bring your right foot forward of your left foot and just slightly to one side. So if you have a look down and you can see both of your feet, it's like you're walking on a plank of wood. It's wider than a tightrope, but it's not your natural width. So just slightly off to one side, slightly off to the right. Weight is as evenly distributed between your 2 feet as you can. And stand up tall. Tuck your bum in if it's sticking out. And again, if you feel happy-ish, close your eyes. If that immediately makes you lose your balance, open them again. Check your toes, feel if they're clawing, and spread them out and reach your head for the ceiling. The reason you close your eyes is it affects your balance straight away. You'll be much more aware of struggling to balance with your eyes closed. So if you need your eyes open, open them. Come back again to feet hip distance apart with your eyes open and move your feet around. Then try the other side. So back to your feet about hip distance and just step forward and slightly in with your left foot. So it's just in front of your right foot. You can clearly see both feet, but you wouldn't want to walk with your feet that close together. It's a little bit off balance. And stand up tall. Weight on both feet. If you feel steady, close your eyes, but remember you can open them immediately if it makes you suddenly feel wobbly or a bit dizzy. Stand there for a few seconds with your eyes closed, being aware of your ankles moving. That's not a bad thing. If your ankles are moving around, that's a good thing. They're balancing you. Reach your head, crown of your head up and press your feet down. Okay, open your eyes, bring your feet apart again, and just move your legs around. Now we're going to try tightrope, which is much harder. If what we've done so far has been hard enough, or you've got any hip issues, just repeat what we've just done or rest, because tightrope is challenging. If you're going to do it, you're going to step your right foot just in front of your left foot, like you're on a tightrope. Slight gap between them, but not too much. You're immediately wobbly. Reach the crown of your head to the ceiling and squeeze your bum and press through your feet. Now, if you can, if you feel steady, close your eyes. It will make you wobble and you'll be really aware of your ankles moving about. Reach your head up for the ceiling. Try not to claw your toes, spread them out. How are you doing? I can't hear any thumping noises, so that's good. Open your eyes, separate your feet. Try the left side. So again, tightrope position. Bring your left foot in front of and just slightly forward of your right foot, like you're stood on a tightrope. Set your shoulders, straighten your back, let your arms come out from your body if you want them to. They naturally sort of move away as a bit of balance, that's fine. Set yourself, and if you feel confident, close your eyes. You're going to have one side easier than the other. Spread your toes, distribute your weight between both feet. Find your balance, harder one side than the other. Breathe. How are we doing? Keep lengthening through the top of your head, through the soles of your feet. Smashing. Okay. Open your eyes, set your feet. One more to do, standing on one leg, which is a challenge. If what we've done so far is too much, keep repeating those, take your time, practice them, and then try the standing on one leg some other time. But what I want you to do, if you're going to do it, is choose your best leg. So whichever leg you are most successful on, put your weight on that leg and lift your other foot just an inch or two off the floor. If that feels okay, then bring that leg to your 90 degrees. Reach the top of your head for the ceiling. Square your hips up. That bent leg, the hip might have hoiked itself up a bit, so square up. Reach your head for the ceiling. Now, if you're okay balancing, close your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes, put your foot down. Well done. How did you do? Other side. So this is the worst side. This is our least favourite side. So let's see how we get on. So put your weight on your supporting leg, lengthen your spine. On your leg that you're going to lift, just lift your foot an inch or two and see how you feel. Square your hips. If it's okay, lift it to 90 degrees. Check that hip hasn't hoiked up, square them up, reach your head for the ceiling. And if you feel okay, close your eyes. Breathe. Ankles going mad. Feel it moving around. Push down through your foot. Reach up through the top of your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes, put your foot down. Well done. Practice that. Alright, a few swings to finish. So arms out in front. Sit into your squat. Swing your arms back. Reach up, little back bend. Sit low. Keep your chest lifted. Don't bend over those legs. Reach. Good. Sit your hips down. Drive up. On this one, reach for the ceiling. Stretch that body out. Bring your arms down. And we're done. Well done. Keep practicing that balance work. Let me know how you get on. And I'll see you soon. Have a good week. What's left of it. Bye-bye.